Mikhail Gorbachev was the General Secretary of the former Soviet Union from 1985 to 1991. His policy of perestroika involved restructuring the economy of the Soviet Union to allow for more free trade and a less centralized government. His policy of glasnost refers to a more open and democratic government. When he enacted those policies, he faced opposition from both liberals and conservatives, which eventually led to a failed coup in 1991 that only further destabilized the situation. Perestroika was meant to allow for decentralized business and less restricted trade. However, it didn't boost the economy as hoped. Government spending went through the roof in order to keep up with the arms race and run industry. This led to a massive deficit, uncontrollable inflation, and increasingly competitive prices for food as the agricultural sector began to produce food for a profit due to perestroika. Glasnost in practice allowed for more freedom of press and information, but it also allowed the people to learn about the injustices and inefficiencies of the Soviet Union. Gorbachev was heavily criticized for both of his policies that were meant to help the Soviet Union. While Gorbachev's policies led to severe economic spiraling and public unrest, it's likely that the state would have failed with or without Gorbachev. Workers throughout the country were often going on strike regarding both living and working conditions. Overall, the citizens held roughly 400 to 450 billion inflated rubles, with nothing to spend them on, as consumer goods were typically unavailable. The government spent most of the available money on keeping up with the United States in the arms race, which put further strain on an already unstable economy. Nationalism became more widespread throughout the Soviet Union's many unique ethnicities. The trade union Solidarity gained traction in 1989 in Poland and helped move the state away from the communist regime. The Baltic states demanded independence, and shortly after Ukraine, Georgia, and Armenia followed suit. The Soviets' global presence was good for Cold War tactics of intimidation, however it required spending more money than the country had. The Helsinki Accords made the Soviet Union agree to a standard of human rights and also provided Europe with the freedom of travel. The main goal of the agreement was to reduce tensions between the West and the Soviet bloc by maintaining the status quo of post-World War II Europe. It's hard to know whether or not Gorbachev directly led to the downfall of the Soviet Union, but he did manage to maintain good relations with the United States and help end the Cold War.